Well, good Sunday morning, everyone. From concept to construction plans, what began as an idea begins to take shape. And for the very first time ever, blueprints for the proposed border wall are on display. Now the question is in your hands, which rendering should become reality?
Free speech is what you had in your last meeting, where both sides come together and talk in a public forum with you all and express their concern. I respect the mayor and the city council for receiving this public input. That is where we exercise our freedom of speech.
Well, that was one public comment at a recent city council meeting praising the city for letting voices on all sides of a heated issue be heard. Others like it shared the same appreciation. Now, in the past few weeks, Laredoans on both sides of the border wall debate have shown up. They've spoken out and listened to one another, even if at times it got spirited. Now, as designs become public, the city is once again asking for input, giving the community a chance to help shape what comes next. And joining us for that discussion this morning is the City of Laredo Mayor, Dr. Victor Trevino, and of course he's joined by my boss, KGNS General Manager Luis Villarreal. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor. We know you have a pretty busy schedule, but we know that this Beyond the Headlines is airing, of course, Sunday morning, but we actually recorded it a little earlier than that. So you have planned for a special called meeting that was held this past Friday. And we want to just talk a little bit about what your intentions were with this special called meeting.
Well, the main reason I called this special meeting is to inform the public where we are with terms and discussion with the federal government. It is important to give information to the public rather than speculation. So at that time, we will be discussing what we were informed by the federal government that their plans are.
So I guess let's take it back to when you first heard from the federal government. You know, you got a letter in the mail, opened it up and said, hey, we're coming. You know, walk us through what happened. What was the communication like?
2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with the Homeland Security where they exposed to us their rendering of what they want to do with a border wall. Border wall is coming. It's a presidential mandate, an executive order. And it's not whether we want it or not want it. It is coming. But we have the opportunity to put our input there. And our input is we have sensitive areas that we want to protect, like the parks, golf course, the access to the river. These are things that are being proposed to the federal government. Rather than fighting them, we're trying to negotiate something. And I think that's the way to go because this is an eminent domain thing. People don't understand what eminent domain is. It's that federal government has the right to take land and create the border wall. But we have seen that other communities that did not cooperate or fought them, they had no option. So in our point of view, I think the best thing to do is to negotiate with them and expose to them that we're the safest city in Texas and one of the safest cities in the country. And we did that without a border wall. But being that this thing is coming, we have to expose who we are and what we signify to the rest of the country. And I think if we put our ideas forth, they will listen.
And so that conversation is actively happening, or are we supposed to submit like here's our proposal and then go back to the drawing board? I mean, what is the process that we'll go through?
They gave us a rendering of
Okay.
what they want to do. Not a Ballard wall. That's a different type of structure. And it's different from the rest of the fences that we have seen throughout the country, throughout the southern border. So these modifications, if you can call it, I think are as a result of us cooperating and collaborating and specifying what this means to our city and this means to our binational relationships. So I think this is something that they listen to us, and we need to continue working with them so we can have a good outcome. So that's where we are right now.
So you said something earlier, and I guess that was what was on my mind, or has been on my mind for a long time, or for recently. this is happening.
Exactly.
I mean, we are way beyond the point of, we're going to fight it, we're not going to fight it. I mean, at this point, it's happening. Let's make the best out of it. Is that basically?
Except that, okay, but on that note then, Luis and Mayor, this is happening moving forward, but does that mean that no other group out there is going to do a lawsuit, have a judge place an injunction on it moving forward? We understand from the city's perspective, you're working with them and we're going to cooperate, and the city's not suing, but are others.
Private citizens? I mean, there's a lot of privately owned land, all these things. So is that still something that needs to play out? And we're just saying, okay, listen, we're going to assume that this is happening. We need to prepare for it and
work with them.
And work with them to make it
be nice in the sandbox and play.
Uninvasive as possible.
Right.
Exactly, and that's why we want public opinion also. We're opening a city council to public opinion. It's a guide we use, not necessarily we'll do exactly what the public wants. We have a mandate from the federal government. They have eminent domain. They have federal powers to do whatever they want, whether we want to or not. So we might as well tell them this is what's beneficial to our area. This is what would be functional. This is what would be nice in our area. So all these things are things that if you tell them the reality, what we're living, who we are, what the importance is as the #1 port of entry in the Western Hemisphere, it's something that they took into consideration by offering us a different rendering than bollard wall structure. I think they're listening to us, but it's a matter of being out there and exposing who we are and what we need and what is the functionality of this.
So when you look at, I lived in El Paso for about 3 years, and I guess people don't know that El Paso has a wall.
Yes.
I mean, and they've had it forever. It's ugly, but it's there, and it's throughout the city, and there's no water in the river, but there is a wall along the river. And then there is actually a road and kind of a bulkhead that serves both as a wall and a thoroughway. And I mean, so there are things that can be done to make this not only pleasing to the eye or less invasive, but also maybe useful to a certain degree. Is that part of the conversation too?
That's something we want to propose also. And remember, this is a campaign promise of the president to put a border wall on the southern border. And he's just following through. People need to understand that. And the groups that want to fight, we have to inform them of what the reality is. And there's choices and there's consequences. Mm-hmm. So we need to really put that into the public information. That's one of the reasons for the special council meeting also.
And that's where the community input also comes into play.
Let's talk about what kind of community input are you looking for, and what will they accept?
We use that as a guide, but eventually the city council has to vote, and we'll vote to negotiate with them and to not fight them, because fighting is a lost battle. It'll be whatever they want to do, and then the structure will be something that's not convenient for us. So I think the way to go is to negotiate what we've been doing, and we've seen at least the rendering they gave us is a good result, rather than the bollard structure.
Environmental concerns, Mayor, things of that nature. I mean, we've talked in the past about delays in permits for bridges and things like that because of environmental concerns and
impacts
and all those things. I mean, I guess, and last time I think I don't know who we were having a conversation with, and it just doesn't seem to me that this can move fast enough with all these things that need to happen. I'm still kind of unclear as to how long this takes. But do environmental concerns also come into play with all these things?
They do, and we've actually put out some things that we'd like for them to look at our sensitive areas, like downtown, parks, the golf courses, and actually possibilities of negotiating access areas to the river for people that go for recreation and fishing. All those things are sensitive areas that we need to put forth, but if we don't speak and we just say no or fight them, it'll never happen.
Well, and you mentioned when we first began the sensitive areas that, we've got our parks, we've got Father McNival Park, and we've got down by the golf course, down by the outlets. So what do they mean by sensitive areas? I mean, I know what we mean. It's our sensitive areas. Does that mean that they're going to stop the wall there, but does that make sense to even do that in their perspective? I mean, what can they do to help our sensitive areas?
That's where creativity has to come in. And sensitive areas are areas that the word sensitive says it all. We live and work here. We know what the sensitive areas are and what suggestions we might have to them. They might follow them or choose not to follow them, but it depends how strategic we are and how we approach it. And it's a way that has been working up to now, because the rendering they gave us is not the typical fence with barbed wire on top. So hopefully with further negotiations and further communication and exposing who we are as a city, what we mean to the rest of the country, I think it'll be successful.
The view from across the border, Mayor, is that important too? Or how it looks?
It is. It is, rather than looking like a prison, we like for it to be like a flood retention wall, something like that. And that would be more eye-pleasing than what they have done in the past.
In your conversations with your counterpart across the border and all those, I mean, I guess we should also consider their perspective or, their input to a certain degree, even as a courtesy?
We discuss it with them, and they know that it's coming regardless of what they say. And we're on the same line. We don't want to have structures that look ugly. We don't want to have structures that damage our environment. So everything we say of what we want to do, I think they're on line with that.
Sounds good, Mayor. Well, we're going to continue the conversation. We just need a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation, as I mentioned, about the perspective from Nuevo Laredo. And then we're also going to talk to the mayor about the phases. We understand that there are some phases that are going to be initiated, and we're going to find out exactly what those are and when those begin. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Well, with the border wall project gaining momentum, both Laredo and Nuevo Laredo could be facing significant changes in the months ahead. Now, despite a historic drop in border crossings and new investments to boost trade and security, plans for a wall seem to be going full steam ahead. Previously, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has called the plan a step backward, arguing cooperation and not construction is the answer. And here at home, local leaders on both sides have previously shared their worries that the wall could disrupt communities that have long been connected by family and businesses and, of course, tradition. And with that wall expected to run along Laredo, Nuevo Laredo will also be directly impacted by the construction and changes that come with it. So we're going to continue our conversation here with the mayor. We thank him definitely for spending some time with us this morning. Let's talk a little bit about any conversations that you've had with your counterpart in Nuevo Laredo and what this means for them, and will it impact them the same way it impacts us here?
Yes, we've had conversations and keeping them informed of what's going on this side. Of course, they really have little to say about it or to do about it, but it's a good idea to let them know what's coming so they can get also some preparation within what they do. But another thing that's important is that we need to understand that this is going to come in phases. And they delineated the phases in the last meeting we had with Homeland Security. All this information was also shared with them. They're aware. Nobody wants a border wall. And we think that other things could have been more beneficial, like revamping the whole immigration reform and doing other things that would be more functional. But at this point, it's a federal mandate. We have to just go along with it, but we can do some amenities that would help us.
Let's talk about the phases, can you give us kind of a timeline of that, or?
Sure.
Or what
We
each
took
one
some
means?
notes here. Phase 1 is November 2025, Laredo North, 14.9 miles from Railroad Bridge going north.
So, for us that are geographically challenged, is that from the outlets going up
From the Railroad Bridge going up north
north?
at 14.9 miles.
Okay. And that 14.9 ends up being where? Where does that end up being?
Specifically, that would be an area of 14.5 miles. That would be, that's what they determined.
Is that around the golf course, if you go up in that direction?
Possibly
more or
around
less?
that
Yeah.
area,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And then phase 2?
Phase 2, it would be December 2025. Laredo West, 42.1 miles, and that's going up west, 42.1.
All right, so let me backtrack. This does not mean that the 14.9 miles will take 1 month to build. The contract or the work will start at that time? What do they mean by phase?
Because that means phase 1 and phase 2 are both happening in 2025. That's
Right.
just this month and next month.
The information they gave us is that they wanted to do it sooner than later.
And are these being done by local contractors?
They told us they had contractors already in line, and they were negotiating the contracts. That was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So they want to speed up this thing.
Okay.
Wow, so it's going pretty fast. And then there's a phase 3 and a phase 4. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes, phase 3 would be February 2026, Zapata, all the way to Zapata, 24.7 miles.
I saw one of the renderings, and it had the wall going through Rio Bravo, going through El Cenizo, going all the way till it gets to Zapata. There's already a partial wall in, I think, San Ignacio. I think I saw something around San Ignacio, Zapata, and I was thinking that maybe this wall was going to connect with that one, because that one just kind of is sticking out there, but you can go around it right now because
Yeah.
it just stops.
Yeah, I think
So-
they want to connect and then just have it
Yeah,
totally.
and those were done by private
Right.
investors, private landowners.
And phase 4, March 2026, Laredo South, 26.9 miles, downtown through Zacate Creek.
Wow.
How do you see this? Well, I mean, there's so many questions, and I know that there are too many players and things and people affected by it, but the construction itself, is there any concern that it would harm our water source? Any thoughts on that? I mean,
There was no information given or shared about this, about contaminating the water source.
Right.
No.
and I read the opinions and I hear what people talk about, how this can negatively affect trade and
The bridges.
I don't understand that. I mean, because it's not like we're using all this open land for trade. I mean, the trade still happens through the bridges and through legal ports of entry and all that stuff. So why would it affect trade?
It has to do with optics.
Okay.
We have big walls along the most important trade corridor, the Western Hemisphere. That creates optics, and that's what people are talking about. Here we are, the largest trade partner of the United States, Mexico, and we have this big structure wall, and in some areas you have the bollard structure with barbed wire. What optic does it give you? And that's the concern people have. They told me that. How can we be the largest trade partner and then we have this ugly thing showing at our borders?
All right. So I mean, again, we can talk and debate all we want about the usefulness and all that. I'm very concerned with the money that's being spent, and I agree with you. I think there are other ways to enhance security and all that stuff. But let's move that aside. I'm a private owner. I assume you have a home?
Yes.
Do you have a fence around your home, or do you let your neighbors come in and out? Are you friends with your neighbors?
Yes, we are.
Okay, but you still have a fence around your house.
Exactly.
Right. So how is that different here? I mean, we all protect our property, we all protect our land, we all protect our thing, but as a country, we're not supposed to?
No, and that's one of the things. We agree that we need border security.
Right.
and we need to have structures that will comply with that. Regretfully, it came all of a sudden. If it would have been done progressively, maybe it wouldn't have been so optically challenging. But yes, we do need to protect our borders, and we all agree that that's primordial.
Okay, so we have a big river, and there's a liquid in the river, the water, and there's been a lot of talk recently about the water treaty and what Mexico owes us and what we owe them or whatever. Where are we with all that?
And we understand that you just recently came out in support of a bill by Senator Ted Cruz for revamping the 1944 water treaty that is already,
1944.
a few decades old. But
Yes, we came
what
up
do you
with
mean
that.
by modernizing it?
We came up with that suggestion some time ago about modernizing that treaty because that was done in 1944. There was a different population, different consumption of water on both sides, and it's not functional right now. Everything has grown. So I think it needs to be revamped or redone.
Just in population alone.
Exactly. That,
I mean,
it doesn't make any sense anymore.
Right.
And Mexico traditionally has not been able or has not paid the water that's owed to the United States. And that's being put as a big concern now. But I don't think they will be able to pay the water. So some other things have to be done. The treaty has to be redone in regards to how Mexico will pay us what they owe us. Not necessarily in water. Maybe they can do other things like natural resources, oil, or some other things. But that has to be worked on.
Take a lot of avocados.
That
be
would
kind of
be,
cool.
yes.
Yeah.
well, there are a lot of things that we could get, but
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by this, and I certainly don't want to open a can of worms or ask a question that we need a lot of time to answer. But so who owns the water in the river?
It's owned by both countries, half and half.
But we pay each other for it.
Right. If they use more than what they
There's an
should,
allotment of.
yeah, an allotment. They need to pay us what they have used.
If they
That-
used more than
Right,
what they're supposed to use.
So complicated. I bet they have a meter there. That's
And then the city of Laredo goes out with their water meter inspectors
That's
and they
right.
will
And it's like,
check the water meter.
Well, I hope they're better than the one that comes to my house. But anyway.
Oh, wow. I just have one last question about those sensitive areas. The wall might perhaps go around some of these, maybe because, there are some folks that go down to the river. We have the kayaks that go down there, and all that is being talked about, correct?
Exactly. And one of the other things I did bring up at that meeting is that, remember the floods we had, the last
Yep.
one in '54. It hasn't rained that much anymore, but we could potentially have hurricanes that would do it. My concern is that we remember Laredo got flooded almost completely. Laredo got about half flooded. We're at a little higher altitude. What would happen if that retention wall would be like a
Levee.
dam?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what would
point
happen
there.
to
Yep,
Laredo?
agreed.
Good
So
point
that's
there.
where we have access. We need to have access points where the water would
To-
flow
to
in and
run,
out.
yeah.
Good point there. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Mayor. We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, it's the one thing our panelists cannot stop thinking about. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. It's the one thing that happened this past week that our panelists cannot stop thinking about. We're going to start with the mayor of Laredo, Dr. Victor Trevino. You had
Thank
something
you.
special going on.
Oh, yes. So we want to celebrate or recognize people that have had businesses here for a long time. La Reinera Bakery is one of them, 100 years.
Wow.
That needs to be brought up and needs to be recognized. So we're going to do a recognition to them.
Awesome.
100 years of good pastries.
Exactly. Everybody
yeah.
knows what a Reinera is.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really special. Thank you, Mayor. And I think we're skipping football.
No, we're not. Full disclosure, we're taping this on a Thursday morning, so I don't know what happened yesterday when the Aggies played South Carolina, but it's been quite the season for the Aggies and just hoping for 2 more wins before the playoffs. So this week, hopefully they pulled it off yesterday.
Yeah.
Then we have a high school next week, and then I think we're playing some school in Austin the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, well,
Some school in Austin,
Wow,
yeah.
on Thanksgiving, wouldn't that be?
Yeah, well,
Okay, well, my one thing The penny, everybody. I can't believe it is going away. And you know what? We've got so many expressions about the penny. You
See a
find a
penny,
penny
pick it up.
all day long. You have good luck.
Yes.
We're not going to have any luck. Our luck has run out on the poor penny. And the funny part about it, or the ironic thing about it, is that President Trump did away with it because it cost 3 to 4 cents to make
One
the
penny.
1 little cent penny. But now we're going to need more nickels, and it costs
we're doing a new
longer
penny, the Trump penny.
to make a nickel. So whatever we saved in the penny, it's
gonna
going to
put
go
it into
into
a
the
nickel.
nickel. Exactly. Plus, all the retailers are now having to get rid of that whole 98 cents, 99 cents, whatever. Anyway, so say goodbye. Keep your pennies, and about 10 years from now, they'll be worth $1,000. So keep them in a piggy bank. That's all the time we have. Make sure to join us next Sunday for another episode of Beyond the Headlines. Until then, have a fantastic week ahead.